Today on Studio One, the Pentagon's latest round of base closings and realignments is impacting cities across the U.S. We'll tell you how one community is dealing with upcoming change at its base. Also, lifelong friends are irreplaceable. We'll visit with a group of women who have found the perfect excuse to get together again and again and again. We'll also sit in on a jam session with some jazz musicians. The ensemble is sharing their music in a special way.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hello everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Jenna Lund.
We have a lot of interesting things coming up on the show. One of the things we're going to talk about is a charitable organization called the Joyful Heart Foundation. And what this is like many other charitable organizations, a celebrity has gotten behind the cause.
Many celebrities get involved with organizations. It helps them look good.
Yeah, it helps the image of the celebrity.
They have the money to give anyway.
Right,
so.
And they also help out the organization with getting more the name in the media. And the organization that we're going to talk about today deals with Mariska Hargitay from Law & Order SVU.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah, we'll talk to someone who's involved with that. Also, this summer, the Pentagon decided to close or restructure dozens of military bases across the U.S. We'll see how that plan is affecting one community.
Also, when someone is in a car accident, they may experience severe body or head trauma. A doctor is usually consulted to help. However, we'll talk to someone who says a team of healthcare providers is better than one person.
But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torney.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. Senate Republicans and Democrats have reached an agreement that will change the future of immigration. The compromise will pave the way for illegal immigrants living in the U.S. to gain citizenship. While the details are still being worked out, President Bush is encouraging the Senate to finish the bill. Majority Leader Bill Frist says the Senate had a huge breakthrough overnight. More than 11 million illegal immigrants currently reside in the U.S.
Those people that are out there today, the 11 million, we're sending a message, and that is you're going to be welcome, and you won't have to live in the fear in the future.
A former judge was cross-examined in the Saddam Hussein trial Thursday for the second time. Awad Bandar sentenced 148 Shiites to death in the 1980s and claims each suspect confessed and received a fair trial. Prosecutors are trying to prove the trials paid little attention to detail. The suspects were sentenced to death for allegedly playing a role in a shooting attack against Hussein. A recent study has found that while college students near graduation, many still lack complex literacy skills needed for everyday life. A study by the American Institutes for Research found that more than half of students with four-year degrees could not understand the arguments proposed in a newspaper editorial or the differences between credit card offers. Some agree that the consequences of this could pose serious problems to the nation's future.
Our country will lose its edge, that leadership edge that we have, because we're getting the next generation or generations of students who will be behind.
Despite these findings, the average literacy of college students is still far higher than the general public. History and math are the usual textbooks used in schools, but a new book could soon spark some controversy. In Georgia, they are considering using the Bible as a textbook. It would be used to teach the history and literature of the Bible. The U.S. Supreme Court has allowed it as long as it is presented objectively and not taught as fact. But many parents believe the Bible should not be used in the classroom because it may expose their kids to various interpretations. Some school districts in Georgia are fighting the proposal. Many communities across the U.S. are home to a military base. In June, the Base Realignment and Closure Commission decided to shut down many of these bases and revamp the missions of others. One such base was fortunate enough to stay open, but some worry about what a change of mission will mean for them.
Kathy Skidmore loves running her small-town pizzeria, but is worried that a recent national decision may force her doors to close.
If they keep taking away individuals from the base, I don't know if there's going to be enough business to stay open.
Kathy's business is located in Emerado, North Dakota, home to approximately 500 people, and the Grand Forks Air Force Base with nearly 3,000 active personnel. The Pentagon plans to change the base's mission from air refueling tankers to unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs, which could impact the number of personnel stationed in Grand Forks.
We're going to keep the Grand Forks Air Force Base open. There was a risk that during the base closing commission it could have been closed, which would have been a huge problem.
Last spring, the initial reports said the change in mission could force nearly 85% of personnel to be relocated. The UAV mission could also impact the amount of money being spent by those airmen. The Grand Forks Air Force Base has an economic impact of more than $350 million on the local community.
We have some concerns that there's going to be a transitional stage.
While the tankers may not leave the community until 2011, it may have a negative impact on the local economy at that time. Businesses near the base, like Roma's Pizza, say they owe their success to the airmen supporting them.
It'd be nice if there was more concern for the local individuals.
While the Grand Forks Air Force Base is waiting for their new mission to begin, the local community is waiting to see what the future may hold.
Base supporters hope the UAVs will lead to future missions. The Air Force is planning a new line of tanker aircraft by 2012 and says Grand Forks would be a possible home for those planes. Later, we will learn how the community of Grand Forks is embracing the UAV mission. And that's the news for now. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks, Mariah. Well, we've seen a lot of water around here lately.
Yes, it's been very wet.
Yeah, the Red River has risen, and the spring flood has hit us again.
But it's starting to go down, so that's better. But it's time to go back to the weather studio and talk to Matt Benz, and he's going to tell us about what's happening around us.
I know a lot of people around here have been very nervous because the Red River is right next door. Good news is the river is going back down in many areas, especially across the southern parts of the valley. First, let's look at our averages across the area. Now, these are just the averages, but we've been exceeding these temperatures. I've seen people out in shorts in Grand Forks, and if you look at this average high around 50, that's almost 60 degrees warmer than when it was 2 months ago. So I don't blame people for getting out there and putting on their shorts. Pair of, it looks like you're in the mid-50s in Minneapolis and Bismarck and approaching 60 degrees down in Denver. So a big change since what we've seen a couple months ago. But we've been seeing a lot of flooding in the Red River Valley. The Red River is the border between Minnesota and North Dakota. It goes towards the north here, and we've seen the annual flooding across the river. And we have seen flooding. It hasn't been record-setting, but it's been in the top 5 for many cities across the region. Grand Forks, it crested at 48 feet. Their record was 54, so a little bit shy of that one. Halstead, Minnesota, they crested at 39. And look at that, just a foot short of their record. And across the other parts of the valley here up towards Oslo, look at that, a half a foot. That's not very far off from their record. And Fargo, they were approaching that. They got within 3 feet of their record. The good news is most of these communities have been prepared for this flooding. We're going to show you a time lapse. We went out and caught the river, a time lapse footage. This started on March 27th. And watch, as the snow melts and the ice begins to melt, the river begins to rise. And during the first parts of April, we saw heavy amounts of rain. So keep an eye on here from the 2nd to the 3rd. It doesn't look like a river anymore. It just shot up, and it looks more like a lake more than a river. And that's because across the area, this is courtesy of CNN from the air, you can see how the water begins to spread out, and that's because the Red River Valley is more or less like a bowl. It's an ancient lake bed, and because it's so flat across this region, whenever the river begins to rise, it more or less just spreads out like syrup on a pancake. It just tends to spread out across the region. So that's why it's very dangerous across this area. If you're not next to the river, it doesn't mean you're not going to get flooded out. Actually, later in the show, we'll have a story about overland flooding, but first, we're going to talk about how much damage can be caused by flooding, and this is the average amount of damage in the U.S. from flooding. So later on in the show, we'll have that story about overland flooding as well as some ice jamming that took place in Grand Forks, and we'll have the answer to your question as well.
Thanks, Matt. But it really seems that no matter how much we prepare, we can't really control how much damage that Mother Nature can do.
That's right, and you saw that, of course, with the hurricanes that happened this last year, too. So, well, it's finally baseball season again, and Nathan Shane has some highlights for us.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. The start of a new season often gives players a clean slate. But at the start of this year, Philadelphia Phillies' Jimmy Rollins is looking to continue from the success he had last season. He is chasing the hitting record held by Joe DiMaggio and is looking to extend his hot batting against the St. Louis Cardinals. And we wouldn't have to wait very long to see if he would do it in this one. In the bottom of the first inning, he'd lace the ball down the third base line Jimmy Rollins' hit extends his streak to 38 games. He needs 56 to tie the great Joe DiMaggio. Bottom seventh now. St. Louis up 3-1, but David Bell for Philly hits it down the left field line. It's out of here. Score all knotted up at 3. Top of the ninth now. Still tied. Yadier Molina hits the ball to left field. Scott Rowland would come around, score the go-ahead win or run. Cardinals win 4-3 on the Cubs-Reds. Bronson Arroyo up the bat. Yes, the pitcher Bronson Arroyo hits the home run to left. Score tied at 2. Top of the 6th now. Derek Lee up the bat. His breakout season last year, looking to continue that. He hits a 2-run homer, bringing the Cubs within 3. Bottom of the 8th now. Reds up 1. Felipe Lopez up to the plate. He would ground out to first, but Ryan Friel safe at home plate. The heady base running. Final score, Reds win 8-6. Many baseball players and fans believe using aluminum bats can be more dangerous than wooden bats, but a recent study has shown this belief might actually be a myth. A study of the American Legion's National Baseball Committee found wooden bats are no safer than those made from metal. Even though the ball comes off aluminum bats faster, the research found no evidence they were more dangerous. It also showed that baseball is one of the safest sports. However, new ways are still being searched for to improve safety.
One option would be probably to take the baseballs and soften them up a little bit would be a way to go about it and get around it, so to speak. But it's just something that obviously baseball has got to deal with.
Almost all high school and college baseball teams use aluminum bats, while the professionals only use wood. And it's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question, and we want to know on something that might be called the national pastime of the national pastime. On average, how many people play fantasy baseball every year? And the answers range anywhere from 13 million to 16 million, and we'll have the answer to that question plus some more sports later on in the show. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks a lot, Nathan. Rob Schneider and David Spade stars a couple of outcasts with a passion for baseball. Later, we'll preview the new movie, The Benchwarmers.
Also, college students generally go to class with people who have the same major. This may be changing in healthcare education. Next, we'll talk with a woman who says going to school with other disciplines may be better in the long run.
Need to plan an entire conference? Want to provide your employees with professional training and development? The Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota provides quality programs and services for career enhancement. Whether you want to attend educator workshops or need a certificate for your profession, the Division of Continuing Education can help you achieve success. Contact the Division of Continuing Education today and let us meet your professional needs.
George Bull and his partners found value in farina, the whitest part of wheat, and created cream of wheat. Patrick Haggerty founded Texas Instruments and helped it become one of the nation's high-tech giants. Raymond Rood is responsible for the modern diving board. His diving boards have been used in every Olympic competition since 1960. Chris Moen and Marlene Schott launched their food company through the UND Entrepreneurship Program. Will yours be next?
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association and Foundation, together with thousands of alumni and friends, are making a difference at UND. Thanks to generous private support, many students have experienced the rich history, tradition, and spirit of the University of North Dakota. UND alumni and friends understand the importance of education and are proud to be part of UND's growth and success. Learn how your gift to the UND Foundation can benefit you and your university. You can make a difference.
Advance your career with a graduate business degree from the University of North Dakota. The graduate school at UND offers a variety of master's degrees that can help you stand out in the competitive business world. Our programs accommodate full-time students as well as working professionals. Our state-of-the-art facilities, dedicated faculty, and entrepreneurial training position graduates for careers as business leaders. Make your move towards a business leadership position. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
Serious medical conditions can change many parts of people's lives. Besides a change in health, habits at home and personal behavior might also be different and require just as much attention. Healthcare practices are changing, including education among students in the field. Course Director for UND's Interprofessional Healthcare, Sue Offut, tells us why many types of doctors work better together than alone. What exactly is the interprofessional healthcare?
Well, the Interprofessional Healthcare course is a course here at the University of North Dakota that encompasses 9 different disciplines. And it was started back in about 2000. The Institute of Medicine issued a report that said about 98,000 people die a year from situations that could be prevented, such as lack of communication, lack of teamwork, distrust among healthcare professionals. And from that, they issued a report on how to train health professionals. And what do we need to do to train students for the future of healthcare, how to communicate, how to work in teams and interdisciplinary. So from the Institute of Medicine's reports, the dean of the medical school here decided to form a task force from those various 9 disciplines to look at what can we do here at the University of North Dakota to be on the forefront for the future of healthcare.
So what are the main goals and objectives of the program?
Well, in this program, when you take the 9 disciplines, which are medicine and nursing, occupational therapy, physical therapy, clinical lab science, physician assistants, social work, communication science disorders, and getting those groups of students together to learn together about each other's roles and responsibilities. What do you do? How have you been trained? When you're in a clinical setting, what are your responsibilities? With a focus on a patient. So we call it patient-centered care. So when you're communicating, we're looking at that patient and the outcome. One of the objectives is also then to increase communication and reduce medical errors in the healthcare setting.
There's a lot of different types of situations that medical and healthcare people have to encounter. Can you give an example of a case study that these students are dealing with?
One of the case studies we deal with is traumatic brain injury. It's based on a college student that has a car accident and then has a brain injury. So it's not only when you enter that emergency room and you have a nurse and you have a doctor and a physician assistant and maybe a social worker and you have a family that's in panic because of the fear of the unknown. And then as you look at the care of this individual with traumatic brain injury, they need physical therapy and they need dietetics and they need occupational therapy. And there's many different specialists working with that patient, but yet how do they communicate together to make sure they're providing the best care for that patient, but also for the family? And so giving the different disciplines the knowledge and skills to work together will hopefully increase the outcomes for the care of that patient.
So right now it's an elective. Is it eventually going to be required?
Well, it is required for all second-year medical students, nursing students, and physical therapists. And it's an elective for some of the communication science disorders, nutrition and dietetics, and communication science disorders. And the other 3 until we get a long distance course. So ideally, it will be a requirement for all of those disciplines when we get all of the pieces in place.
How do the different disciplines, how can they clash with one another?
Well, I think sometimes it's based on our typical the way in which we've provided care, or people understand care. They think, a doctor has this power and a nurse has this power, and they don't really understand what that speech language pathologist does, or what does a physical therapist do. So ideally we try to get over that one has more power than the other, and everyone is just as important to the care of that patient.
How do you decide which disciplines are going to contribute to which areas?
When we designed the case study, it's been a 3-year process that we've been together, a curriculum committee that meets once a week. When you design the case, that's why you have all the players around the table, so they have the input on what time do they enter the care of that patient, and what do they do to reflect the student's knowledge about those disciplines taking care of that patient.
A lot of people haven't really heard of this program yet. How new is it in the United States?
Well, in the United States, the UK and Canada are actually leaders in the interprofessional care, somewhat based because of their socialized medicine, and we've pretty much practiced in silos in those disciplines. So it's on the cutting edge here in the United States. We feel very fortunate here at UND. We're unique because we also are using the problem-based model learning out of the medical school, so we work in small groups of 8. Not in big lecture halls of 80, small groups. And we're also working at an undergraduate level to graduate level with some of those disciplines that are participating.
I'm sure there's a lot of more future plans to expand this program, but this is really good for you to be here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
So good luck on the program.
Well, thank you.
Coming up, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Later we'll speak with someone who will tell us a unique way one group helps sexual assault victims. Also, when it comes to learning, we often think of math, science, and reading. Later we'll meet a group of people who teach others to appreciate music just as much as they do.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door.
Wall Street has come to the prairie through the A. Kirk Lanterman Investment Center at the University of North Dakota. This state-of-the-art facility in the College of Business and Public Administration provides hands-on experience in the world of modern finance. Students learn how financial markets react with lightning quickness to world events. They use cutting-edge technology and real-time data from more than 200 financial markets around the world. The Lanterman Investment Center provides the tools to make a career out of an education.
There are many things to be found at the University of North Dakota School of Law. You will find a place with small class settings, an affordable place that offers student interaction with both the state and federal court systems. You will find a school that has averaged over 90% placement for its graduates the past 5 years. But most importantly, you will find the skills and experience you'll need throughout your legal career. Find your future at the University of North Dakota School of Law.
Explore the educational opportunities available through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota. With just one phone call or a click of the mouse, you'll find high-quality programs designed for today's adults. We have a large selection of continuing education courses that are available at a time and place that's convenient for you. Discover a world of learning through the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
Baseball and lots of laughs are combined in the upcoming film The Benchwarmers. Rob Schneider and David Spade star in the comedy. Schneider and Spade join John Hader as social misfits that have always been the underdogs when it came to sports. That changes when the trio meets a group of bullied little leaguers. The outcasts and the team join forces to teach the bullies a lesson. Schneider says this was an opportunity he's been waiting for his whole career.
Baseball's my first love, without a question. If I had a choice being a professional baseball player, not even a question. So this was like a dream come true to actually get to play baseball.
Fellow Saturday Night Live alum Adam Sandler produced the movie. During the film, the actors got to practice with baseball legend Reggie Jackson. The Benchwarmers is in theaters everywhere on April 7th. Now it's time to take a look at the events happening in your area. Jazz music can be heard all over the country. The music consists of many styles from swing to Latin. One jazz group has found a way to spread their passion to all generations.
Coffee shops offer many flavors. You can find mocha, chocolate, and vanilla. But tonight, the featured flavor is jazz.
I mean, jazz as an art form is a music that just represents pure self-expression and individualism.
Like many semi-professional and amateur bands, the members come from all walks of life. Austin Winger is a jazz fan. He has been playing the drums since the 5th grade. What makes this band unique is that they let people like Austin experience the thrill of jazz.
The melody and everything, you get it inside and it's like a pulse that flows through, and I don't know, you just really get into it, you get lost in the music.
Austin tries to attend these jazz sessions as often as he can.
You know, the people who are really passionate about it are the ones who go far, and if you have passion, you'll do just fine.
Austin says jazz music allows him more freedom to play whatever comes to heart.
And being a drummer is really, it's kind of like the heart of the band, and everyone puts their part in, and it's really cool.
Regardless of the size of the audience, these performers are paving the way for future jazz musicians. With photographer Eric Fleischhacker, this is Peter Stortle reporting for Studio One.
The improvisational jazz sessions are held every Thursday night. Performers of all ages are welcome to come and share their musical talents. Coming up, a good friend is a wonderful thing. We'll show you a group of women that remind us how important it is to keep in touch with the ones we love. That's story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND has a long history of preparing students for successful careers. Through small classes and faculty involvement, students have unique opportunities to gain hands-on experience. Here, students launch a weather balloon to test a remote imaging device destined for Earth orbit. Students can also become involved in wind energy and fuel cell projects, design, build, and race a Formula One car, or even develop a camera that will generate agricultural images from the International Space Station. Find out for yourself how you can get involved at UND School of Engineering and Mines.
Do you need a flexible way to earn your degree? The University of North Dakota's Degrees After Hours program is designed to work around your full-time schedule. Whether you've got a family, a full-time job, or both, the Degrees After Hours program offers you flexible alternatives. You can earn a degree or take courses online through video conferencing and in the evenings or on weekends. UND's Degrees After Hours program fits your needs, your schedule, and your goals. Contact UND today.
This can happen.
Excuse me, can I get a ride?
What?
My car broke down. Can I get a ride?
No, I can't help you.
Look, it's just a ride.
No, step back.
Get in the car!
No!
Women can defend themselves. To learn more about Impact U or to enroll in a class, call the UND Women's Center.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
Well, there are about 11 million immigrants that find their way into the United States.
Illegal immigrants.
Yes, every year. So the House of Representatives, and I know the Senate, have been going through a lot about trying to pass new immigration laws.
Yeah.
There's a lot of controversies.
A lot of controversy because the debate is, you know, if you got rid of all the illegal immigrants, some people say the economy would fall apart because
they work for such a low wage.
Yes.
You know. So, but we went out on the streets to check other people's opinions on whether they think this is right or wrong. So.
All right.
That's coming up.
That's coming up in the next 30 minutes on Studio One. Also, the Pentagon is preparing to close or restructure U.S. military bases. We'll see how one community is trying to embrace this change.
Also, it's always fun to get together with friends. We'll show you a group of women who make fun a priority.
And victims of sexual assault carry the memory of their attack for life. Later we'll have someone on the show and she'll tell us how she helps those victims on both the local and national level. But first, here's today's news with Mariah Torning.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. The trial for the only person connected to the 9/11 attacks resumed Thursday. Al-Qaeda conspirator Zacarias Moussaoui is now in phase 2 of the trial, which will determine whether his fate will be life in prison or death. Former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani is the government's first witness against Moussaoui. Giuliani described the horrors of September 11th and says the images will stay with him forever. On Monday, the jury concluded that Moussaoui was responsible for at least one death from 9/11 and therefore eligible for execution. A 92-year-old man was subdued with a stun gun after beating his roommate with an aluminum cane. Police in Hudson, Florida were dispatched early Thursday morning to an assisted living facility. They say the suspect continued to threaten staff members and had to be tasered in order to calm him down. The roommate suffered severe injuries to his head and face. He is in critical condition. Both the suspect and victim are apparently Alzheimer's patients. Fire sprinklers are a requirement in most public buildings. Now sprinklers are being placed in residential homes to help save lives and property. Recent technology is making fire sprinklers more affordable and easier to install in new homes. According to the Home Fire Sprinkler Coalition, many insurance companies also provide additional premium discounts to homes with sprinklers. The group also says the systems can greatly reduce fire damage, but more importantly, they save lives.
It's a life safety issue. You know, coupled with smoke alarms, your chances of getting out now have risen to about 83% in a fire situation.
Home sprinkler systems add 1 to 1.5% to the total cost of a new building. California police are using some high-tech equipment in the fight against gang members. Prison officials have begun using global positioning system anklets to track known gang members. The GPS devices were strapped onto 3 parolees in a Los Angeles suburb. They appear as moving dots on a map. If they try to remove the anklet or enter unauthorized areas, the device sends an alert to law enforcement. Los Angeles County is scheduled to receive about 80 more GPS anklets. Researchers will observe the program for a year to see how well it works. Last year, the Base Realignment and Closure Commission closed several air bases around the country. The choice to bring a new mission to one base has allowed it to remain in operation.
Changing the mission at the Grand Forks Air Force Base in Emerado, North Dakota has many people unsure of how it will affect their community, but others have a much more optimistic outlook for the arrival of unmanned aerial vehicles, or UAVs.
The response has just been fantastic from people in universities, also at the corporate level.
In May of this year, a special assessment team will determine if the base is suited for UAVs. This summit at the University of North Dakota brought together several officials to discuss the positive aspects of the mission.
Bringing UAVs to the community brings a whole new technology system here, so we have aircraft, we have sensors, we have all those things that go into making a UAV system operate.
UAVs have been used since the late 1980s, mainly for surveillance missions. Refined technology has helped expand their capabilities.
But now UAVs have gone beyond just the reconnaissance piece to also include we've put weapons onto our UAVs.
UAVs are being used for anything that's considered to be dull, dirty, or dangerous.
It can take as many as 20 people to operate one UAV. Their arrival could create several opportunities for the base and for the university.
They're developing a new mission, we're developing a new mission, and the two work very, very well together.
Lockheed Martin will provide UND Aerospace with one UAV as early as this spring. It is hoped that the knowledge gained from working with this UAV will promote specialized education for students in the future.
Eventually, we'd like to develop a training program for UAV operations, piloting, technology.
While no one can know its true impact, many are hoping that the UAV mission will broaden opportunities for both the university and the community. Reporting for Studio One News, I'm Danielle Webster.
22 military bases are being closed and another 33 reconfigured. The Pentagon hopes the plan will save more than $4 billion each year. And that's the news for now. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks, Mariah. Well, certainly when an Air Force base closes, it affects the communities that are around.
Yeah, it loses a lot of population and can affect the business.
Yeah, so. Exactly.
But it's time to go back now to weather, and we're going to go back to Matt, and I know he's got a lot more flood stuff he's going to share with us today.
That's right. You know what? The last couple of weeks we've been talking about ice jamming, and guess what? It happened in Grand Forks. It wasn't anything severe, but as the river rose, it began to break up the ice, and we saw some ice jamming on the river right outside of Grand Forks. Look at that. It's about the size of a pickup truck, and the river is just tossing around like that is nothing. So that's very important to note that when waters get high, they can be very dangerous, so you should keep your distance from swollen rivers and streams. Look at that, another large chunk of ice just being rolled around out there. And as these jam up, they tend to back up the water. Like I said, though, this one was not that bad, so that's good news. This is happening up in the northern part of the country, up around the Red River Valley. The river flows towards the north, and bad news for the people that generally live towards the north, because the river tends to be stayed frozen towards the north, but down towards the south it thaws out more quickly. So as the river flows towards the north, tends to experience more ice jams. Well, people that live near rivers are always at risk of flooding. Living further away from rivers and streams does not always guarantee that you will stay dry.
Flooding usually involves rivers or lakes, which can overtake and damage surrounding areas. A different type of flooding can be just as destructive.
Well, overland flooding is when you basically have too much rainfall or too much flow. It could be snowmelt. That is not able to be confined to the ditches and the smaller streams, and so it starts to move over the land.
This flooding can stretch to open fields and threaten people who live near them. There's one main reason that the Red River Valley, for the most part, is open to overland flooding.
Well, the Red River Valley has trouble because, first of all, it's very flat, so the water is going to flow toward the river, but it'll pile up against the roadways and against areas until it gets high enough to overtop that and continue toward the river.
There is no definite way to prevent overland flooding. It's a balance between how much water you hold back and how much you allow through. Reporting for Studio One, I am Dan Kohler.
Well, people are researching ways of storing water in fields. This idea would flood small areas temporarily, but in the long run it would help prevent water running into rivers and causing larger floods. Well, earlier in the show we asked you how much damage usually occurs in the U.S. because of flooding, and it looks like your answer is $2 billion. That's a lot of money, and it looks like, you know, just because you're flooding a small area, it needs to prevent flooding. You need to prevent flooding for future flooding.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
Well, I always thought it'd be a little bit more than that, actually, but
well, $2 billion.
It's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. All right, well, let's go now to a story about a winning team with Nathan Shane.
Thank you, Monty and Jenna. For most college hockey teams, making the Frozen Four is only a dream. But for the University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux, it's become business as usual.
The 2005-2006 hockey season has not been easy for the usual powerhouse University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux. With 13 incoming freshmen and only 2 seniors, no one expected much from this young team. But the players knew how to prove their critics wrong, and once again seemed to be peaking at just the right time.
This team needed an opportunity to gain some experience, go through some battles, and we've done that. And really the other thing we've tried to concentrate on is just getting better.
And get better they did. What was thought to be a time for growth turned out to be a year with postseason success, and now they're preparing for another trip to the Frozen Four. And although half the team will be rookies to the national championship tournament, the other half remember the feeling of competing there all too well.
Ever since we lost last year, I think for us older guys, we've had that, to sit on all summer. So that's kind of been our fuel all year to get us there.
For some, this will be their last chance at the title and their spot in Sioux history.
We couldn't ask for any better ending to my career at the Ingolstadt Arena. It was just a great feeling.
So while some will be finishing their careers and others just beginning, one thought is in all of their minds. They want to win UND's 8th national title and add another championship banner to their collection. I'm Rachel Cutcliffe for Studio One Sports.
This is the University of North Dakota's 16th appearance in the Frozen Four. And now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question. On average, how many million people play fantasy baseball every year? And the answer to that is C, 15 million people. And that's at least 15 million people who are going to be very interested in how the Major League Baseball season plays out. And that's the sports. Monty and Jenna?
Thanks a lot, Nathan. Many people make crafts to create something of their very own. Next, we'll see how one business strives to help their customers craft their own personal style.
Also, some of the most memorable times happen when we're in the company of friends. We'll visit with a group of women who create memories more often than most.
When you graduate from college, what will you be able to offer an employer?
Well, I'm a really good people person.
I really love working with people.
I'm very, very motivated.
I'm a great people person. I am really motivated.
Offer an employer something more. At the University of North Dakota Career Services Center, we can help you get the competitive edge you need. Stop in or check us out, UND Career Services, empowering students to realize their dreams.
Did I mention I'm great with people?
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration offers real degrees for real people. Our nationally recognized faculty can help you earn a master's degree in business through evening classes.
Taking these evening classes were very convenient for me, and that's how I was able to complete the program.
We offer degrees for people who work, raise families, and lead busy lives. The UND College of Business and Public Administration, real degrees for real people.
The School of Engineering and Mines at UND offers students exceptional learning opportunities. Undergraduates are helping faculty design and build unmanned aerial vehicles to test remote imaging devices. They're also converting wind energy into hydrogen. Geological science students are contributing to environmental research. Extracurricular activities include designing, building, and racing a fuel cell car. Make the most of your college experience at UND's School of Engineering and Mines.
Let the University of North Dakota become your partner by providing your business with services to enhance your workforce. The UND Office of Workforce Development has extensive experience conducting employee satisfaction research, strategic planning, focus groups, and grant development. Call us for further information. Workforce Development, a service of the Division of Continuing Education at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks.
Crafts are a way for most people to learn something new. One shop teaches their customers how to make something they can call their own.
Big beads, little beads, blue beads, clay beads. In this class, the little round pieces are a prerequisite.
We show them what all the tools are, what kind of wires you can use, what all the findings do, and then that's like the first hour of class.
Brianne Abel teaches people how to turn ordinary beads into jewelry. She says many of her students have a hard time searching for the right style they want in their jewelry. The reason it may be so difficult is because of the endless options.
Fire polish, that's a Chinese cut crystal. And then we have glass beads as a section. And then we have a section of vintage beads, and they come from Germany.
Although beads are known to be in fashion, some beads are known to fool the eye. Take these beads, for instance. They may look like pearls, but are in fact a crystal with a pearl coating. Some of Brianne's students come in with no knowledge about beadwork. The only experience they have had is by watching others.
I started following around my sister-in-law, and she's big into jewelry. And I just started to take a liking to it and wanted to learn how to do it.
Beth feels that she will be able to go out and use what she learned in the class.
I'll be able to go and pick out beads and make my own bracelets and that to match my outfits.
Although Brianne's class may be basic, her students leave with a potential new hobby that they can wear with pride. With photographer Desiree Mosted, this is Jessie Weber reporting for Studio One.
The store even gives classes for wedding parties. This is so people can make their own wedding jewelry without spending too much money. Each year, around thousands and thousands of people enter the United States illegally. The House of Representatives has approved a bill which will create a barrier fence along 700 miles of the U.S. and Mexico border. The wall is intended to prevent illegal immigrants and potential terrorists from hiking across the southern border into the United States. We wanted your thoughts on the controversial issue.
I'm not against them, but I do think we have enough of our own people here in our country to take care of.
It probably won't cut back on immigration or whatever. They'll be back. They'll have to be smarter and think about a different way to go through, you know?
I don't think it'll make a difference. I think they're going to come over no matter what.
When the fence goes up, I think it's going to be harder for people to get in the country, which in a sense I do agree with. But then again, how many more people are going to die just trying to get over that fence?
I don't think that if you build a wall, it's not really going to fix any of the problems. It's just going to keep them out of this country and make them worse for people that live in countries less developed than our own.
I think it has to be done. It has to be done as soon as they can get it done.
Hobbies can be a great way to meet people. For one group of women, their ties go beyond the needle and thread that brought them together.
Tonight, it's Sandy Haladi's turn to host. While her husband is in the kitchen preparing dinner, she tends to her guests.
You get your hands dirty.
We meet every 2 weeks, every other Wednesday, and we go to each other's homes.
They call it Sewing Club. You might catch a glimpse of yarn and needles early in the evening, but very quickly they're replaced with food and conversation.
We used to have progressive dinners too. That was a fun thing. Start out at one house and have cocktails and hors d'oeuvres, and then we'd go to the next one and have soup and salad, and then we'd go to the next one for the main course. So we'd trot around town all night. Oh, and we had this graduation party because there was only one girl in our club that had a college degree. And we read, if you were 40 years old, you had the equivalent of a college degree. So we threw ourselves a graduation reception.
The club began in 1953, over half a century ago. This was the year Phyllis, Bernice, Julie, and Arlene started the group.
When my first husband died, it was in the fall, right when sewing club was starting. And Pat was going to have the first sewing club, and she said, we're going to wait for a couple of weeks so that Julie can come too.
It didn't take long for the ladies to realize how close they had become.
I had breast cancer twice, and Lene brought me this plate of cookies, and it was a special plate that you were supposed to keep the plate and pass it on to someone else who was sick. Well, then my friend Bev, then she got breast cancer, so I filled it up with cookies and brought it over to her.
It was a common hobby that brought these women together, but it's their special bond that keeps them coming back. I'm Virginia Sticka, reporting for Studio One.
Phyllis is one of the 4 original members still in the club today. The 4 founders have been members of the club for over 50 years. Coming up, sexual assault victims face a lifetime of dealing with their experience. Next, we'll talk to someone who will tell us of a unique way one group helps victims heal.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by University of North Dakota Student Government. Your voice, our mission.
The College of Business and Public Administration at the University of North Dakota is proud to announce the Page Family Marketing Center. A gift from alumni Greg and Cindy Page, this center promises real-world experiences as students begin careers in marketing. The center includes a specially designed conference room for focus group research. An adjacent lab offers real-time access to software and data for marketing decisions. The Page Family Marketing Center, your next step in marketing.
Tradition runs deep among American Indian people. One of those traditions is helping others. At the University of North Dakota, American Indian Student Services is dedicated to helping students succeed. Our support services include tutoring and financial aid assistance. We have more American Indian programs than any other university in the U.S., making UND a leader in Indian education. Be a part of our tradition. Call 1-800-CALL-UND.
Earn a degree in engineering while you continue to work. The University of North Dakota's Distance Engineering degree program offers the only ABET accredited undergraduate degree program at a distance. Instructors and classes are delivered to you through online lectures and condensed on-campus laboratories.
It's convenient, it's flexible, and it's a quality education.
UND Continuing Education and the School of Engineering and Mines, teaming up to bring quality education to your door. No matter what your schedule, no matter when you work, no matter what job you have now, this is your opportunity to accomplish your goals. Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota can work around your busy schedule. Bachelor and master's degrees are earned through convenient, flexible, and high-quality classes. Complete degrees are available online through correspondence study and on weekends and evenings. Earn a degree on your terms with Degrees After Hours at the University of North Dakota.
April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Many groups around the world are dedicated to helping victims of attacks heal. These organizations also help prevent future attacks through awareness and outreach programs. Annie Langseth is here to tell us about an organization called the Joyful Heart Art Auction. Thanks for coming on the show today.
It's my pleasure.
Well, what is the Joyful Heart Foundation?
The Joyful Heart Foundation was established in 2002 by Mariska Hargitay, who plays Detective Olivia Benson on SVU. And it's an organization that looks to heal survivors of rape and sexual assault through mind, body, and spirit via a total healing retreat, is what they call it.
Okay. Well, we have a picture of Mariska, and she plays a detective, like you said, on Law & Order. How did you end up meeting her?
Well, I became a fan of SVU, and as my friends and many people know me, I become really passionate about things, and so I decided to Google her after I became a fan, and I found out that she was really involved with, trying to help out with rape and sexual assault off screen and on, and so I found her foundation, and I decided to draw a little picture based off of their logo, and I sent it into their foundation just on a whim, because I wasn't going to do anything with it, And about a month or so later, I got an email from her saying she loved it, and she'd like to get a hold of me and wanted my phone number, but I didn't believe it was her. I watch SVU, so I have to be cautious, and I emailed her to see if she could prove it, and she did. She sent a picture of her holding it, so that's how I first got into contact with her, and then I was asked to come meet her in New York City.
Well, we just saw the picture come up of her holding your picture that you drew. How did you end up meeting her? Like, what happened there?
Well, after I had emailed her and she had proven that it was her, I said, of course you can have my number. Heck, I'd just like to meet you. I threw that out there. I didn't think anything of it, just a crazy little fan, I guess. And then her assistant actually emailed me the next day and said that Mariska was holding a fan meet and greet in New York City and that she would love for me to come. And so that's how it all went down.
Okay. Sounds like fun.
It was.
How does the foundation help victims of sexual abuse?
Well, they have a number of missions. The first is to have a healing retreat, and that's where that's kind of their emphasis, and they take survivors they've been working with through rape crisis centers on a week-long, all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii to undergo sort of different types of therapy that help to heal them on a different level. And then they also do outreach with other rape crisis centers, just trying to create connection and networking across the country with these centers. And then they're also looking to do teen empowerment, working with young girls to help them have better self-esteem and be more confident in themselves to avoid maybe situations where they'd put in danger.
Okay, and it's a newer foundation.
Yep.
How did it start exactly?
Well, Mariska, her character on SVU, they deal a lot with rape and sexual assault cases on the show, and so she wanted to do something about that because fans were approaching her on the street saying how much she had made an impact on their lives. So she underwent rape crisis counselor training, and she wanted to do more with it, but she wasn't quite sure. And she would go to Hawaii and swim with dolphins, and she had a really sort of overwhelming, heart-opening experience, as she put it, swimming with dolphins one time, and kind of a light bulb clicked in her head, and said, like, this is how I can reach out to people. So.
Okay, and you've decided to take on this cause as well. Back here in North Dakota, you're putting on an auction. Tell us a little bit about what you're planning.
Well, I'm planning the Joyful Heart Art Auction, and it's going to benefit Joyful Heart Foundation as well as the Community Violence Intervention Center here in Grand Forks. And it was something that I just wanted to do because I'm really passionate about what they do, and since I'm all the way out in North Dakota, I can't do much in New York City, but I figured it'd be great to sort of create more awareness for their foundation and also for what CVIC does in Grand Forks. So there's local artists, including UND students, and we're auctioning off their artwork, and there's going to be live music and food from Boston's, and it'll be very fun.
Well, how common are these events? So is it something that happens across the nation where people like you who get involved with the foundation basically become an outlet in a different area from New York?
Yeah, well, I think this is really the first sort of event that has been done to benefit the Joyful Heart Foundation that I'm knowledgeable of. But there are a number of programs going on, other in Grand Forks and across the nation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So it's a sort of a heightened and focused attempt to reach out to the country and the public.
How can people find out more information about the foundation, or if they want to get involved?
Well, they can go to their website. It's www.joyfulheartfoundation.org, and it's a very interactive website, and there's a number that you can call and talk to some of the staff there, and they're very willing to talk with you and help you out. They've been very helpful with me planning this. So there's a lot of information. You can donate on the website through there, donate money, and they also encourage people to get involved locally and maybe help out with volunteer events or become a rape crisis counselor. So
okay, get involved like you did yourself.
Yes,
all
exactly.
Right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show today. It sounds like a really good organization, and good luck with your event.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Well, you're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
The UND College of Business and Public Administration is reaching out to rural America. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is working to connect North Dakota veterans with important information. North Dakota veterans can use the internet to access employment and business resources, health and benefits they deserve, housing information, and much more. The Government Rural Outreach Initiative is funded in part by the North Dakota Congressional Delegation. North Dakota veterans and their families can get connected by visiting go.ndgrow.com.
Become a leader in healthcare with a graduate degree from the University of North Dakota. The Graduate School at UND offers degree programs and advanced practice certificate programs in the allied health professions and nursing. Our faculty give you the individual attention you need to help you attain your career goals. Distance programs for practicing professionals allow you to pursue graduate studies without interrupting your career. Contact the UND Graduate School today.
Tune in next week on Studio One. Some high schools across the country are forcing students to choose a major even before they get to college. We'll show you why schools are doing this and what consequences it may have. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of the flooding Red River here in Grand Forks, North Dakota. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.